Hi, this is Amy Steele from Friday the 13th Part 2. Ginny. I'm sure you guys know me as Ginny, the one that kicks ass, the one that lives, the one that survives. That's me. You are listening to the Timo and Harley Show. Awesome show, awesome people, awesome guys. Have fun.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in mind cry, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, hair metal Harley. How the hell are you?
What's up, Timo? Good. I wish I still had my hair metal.
Right.
Had a little Danzig thing going for a while, but
Yeah.
no, I'm doing okay, Timo.
Brother, we're lucky to have any hair at our age, so
True.
Yes,
this
we're
is
okay,
true.
even though mine's oddly graying. Oddly graying. And my eyebrows are getting much more eccentric the older I get, too, which is fun. Like taking tweezers to things like your ears and nose. That's always fun. I want to start off this week, Ben Harley. Real quick, wanted to say something. As we always call it the space-time continuum, meaning by the time you hear this, we have recorded this probably a week and a half before you hear it. So we're a little bit behind the times as you listen to the show. As we record it, we're only sort of behind the times. But as you listen to it, we're really behind. But just wanted to say thoughts to the and well wishes and to everyone down in Texas dealing with the hurricane. And the hurricane was really bad, but man, that rain just kind of sat down there and just waterlogged that whole region. Down there. So I want to encourage everybody to donate a little bit while Washington hand rings over any kind of passing any kind of aid, while they want to try to figure out what kind of pork to attach to it. While they're hand-wringing, find yourself a real reputable organization and donate. I just want to say real quick, there are online quite a few like little lists that show you how much of your dollar goes to actually helping people through some of these charitable or quote charitable organizations. You might want to look at that before you donate your hard-earned money to people that really need it. Pick it out if you can. And anyway, so much love and we're praying for you down there. And it's going to take quite a while and quite a bit of help down there to get them out from under there. So
I'm hoping everybody's good. We just did some shirts also for the Cult Classic convention coming up, which is down there, I think in Barstow, Texas.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Which is also the gentleman who runs the gas station.
Oh, Texas Chainsaw?
Mm-hmm. So I know that's coming up, and hopefully everything works out. I did get a chance to talk to him the other day. He said things were okay. They had a couple down power lines and a few other things, but they came through okay. So
right.
Our prayers and everything go out to all the family and and friends and people affected down there and stuff. So,
well, we're thinking about you, and we love Texas.
Yep.
Texas is where the lovely Angio was born into the world. So we're.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, our thoughts are with you. Well, that's why she's such a good.
Tough.
Yeah, that's right. That's why she's a good chick. See, so. Well, let's see here. Let's move it over to what we watched this week, Ben Harley. As always, I'll start with a few things that I watched. First up, me and Angio just decided to kind of just watch something, just kind of throw a dart at the wall.
Sure.
And one of the first things that came to mind, believe it or not, was a 1993 movie from Hong Kong called The Untold Story. This is also called The Eight Immortals Restaurant Untold Story. This is a cult film. It's based on a true story about a guy that kills a restaurant owner and takes over the business from him and kills people and feeds them to his customers pretty much.
Jeez.
Now, all the killing part, I think, is pretty accurate, actually, to the true story.
Wow.
Him feeding turning people into dumplings and stuff and feeding them to people. Not so sure how real that is. Like, that's kind of murky. But at the same time, it is kind of fun to see the restaurant owner guy give some free meals to the cops that are investigating the case. That's fun to see them take boxes back to the police office where they're trying to, or the police department where they're trying to find bodies and stuff, and they're got them in their hands eating them while they're trying to locate where they are. Yeah. Interesting to say the least. Yeah. But
I'd say,
this is a really shocking film. It's got some over the top, violent, sexual, just Asian insanity. Basically. But it is a very, very good film. Very dark and very. It goes back and forth from being like zany and frantic to very dark, which is people from that area of the globe tend to make some films like that, and this is no exception.
Yeah.
So, but
okay.
I remember watching that the first time with Mr. Rob Wagner. Mr. Rob Wagner showed me that movie years and years ago, probably 20 years ago or so. But actually, Angio and I, it kept us kind of awake, so it's all right. Not too bad. Let's see here. Next up, Ben Harley decided to watch a new film. Yes, a new.
Within the last 20 years?
This movie came out in the last year and was nominated for every major Academy Award this past year. Yes, it is the movie. Well, it's the movie Arrival.
Okay.
Yeah, the movie where the spaceships land on Earth and the humans have to figure out why they came, starring Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
And see, when the spaceships come, Ben Harley.
Forrest Whitaker couldn't say
God. The only funny thing about Forrest Whitaker is when they had a close-up of his head through a helmet, and I knew it was Forrest Whitaker by the location of his eyes. This is just another sappy movie trying to be smarter than the rest of the earth, including Kurt Vonnegut and Philip K. Dick, which is just silly. Okay?
Right.
It's one of these movies with the setup, with a very simplistic, I get it kind of story. Almost like it's preachy in such a cloaked way and just makes you roll your eyes. It's a real dumb twist at the end that you kind of pick up as the movie's going on, and it's just like, anyway. Damn thing was nominated for. Movies are trying to become really important.
Told you it was going to suck.
Oh, well, they're trying to become really important instead of really entertaining. Now, that back in the day, we had a film like, let's say, Close Encounters, which is kind of similar to what this is. Well, I tell you, the thing is that movie was important, sort of, made you think a little bit, but it was entertaining. It was entertaining. Yeah. Well, they're forgetting how to do that. All it is a bunch of shots with these new video cameras with natural dim lighting, and they're floating in and out of focus and stuff. I don't know. I told Angela last night after we watched it, I was angry. I was literally angry with the movie. I just told her, I said, I just think, again, I do not like the hip techniques of filmmaking today, presently going on. The shaky camera shit was bad. That made me sick. This just makes me angry. So it's going back and forth between being sick and being angry. So anyway, Arrival, I should have known better as soon as Hollywood was bestowing it with a bunch of award nominations and stuff.
Yes.
It only won for sound editing, which actually I do every day. So I should be really excited about that. I was not impressed with the sound editing. It didn't deserve a damn thing. Anyway, so moving on. Here's one, Harley. Watched from 1996. I said 1996.
Wow.
Watched The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh, yes.
The weird version with Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando in it. Let me tell you, I just watched, I've seen this movie twice. It's called Lost Souls. It's about Richard Stanley. He did Hardware. It was kind of like a cult kind of filmmaker or whatever. And he had a treatment in this film. He was supposed to direct it. And it's legendary how crazy the production went. He got fired. He got fired basically. Actually, he snuck back
he ran
on.
out into the jungle.
Yeah, he did. He ran on jungle. He actually snuck back on. He's in the movie. He's in the movie as one of the monsters. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Well, he had a contract says he couldn't come within 40 kilometers of the actual shoot.
It's just a great story.
It is. So I don't know why. I just said, I'm just going to go look at this piece of crap here real quick. And I got to tell you, I'm becoming more and more fascinated by this movie. I mean, it's not good, but the more you kind of know it and the more you kind of know the story behind it, and then you see Marlon Brando with that tube hat on and they're pouring ice in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you start getting the humor after a while. You start going, I'll just go with it. These guys know this is kind of a train wreck and they're just going to help it along. Look, it is a bad movie, but this time, for the first time ever, I got to enjoy it as a joke. And I did kind of enjoy it. A little long-winded for a joke, but I can't sit here and tell you I didn't kind of chuckle at it. And I kind of got the joke this time. It was okay. All right. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's... I just laughed at it. That's all.
Maybe I need to go back because I think I've only watched it one time, and I know I actually went to the theater to see this, and not sure that I've ever been more excited about seeing a film than this one. And then I came out of there like, wow, I was okay. There are some scenes and stuff in there that I do remember that I kind of thought were okay, but I can't hang my hat on them. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's just so disappointing because I'm thinking to myself, especially at that time, Val Kilmer was such a good actor for what's her name? Faruka Balk or whatever. Faruka Balk. Yeah. I liked her. I thought she was good. I mean, you got Marlon Brando, for fuck's sake. Sorry. But I just felt so bad about that. I'm like, what the hell happened? How did this? And then I watched that documentary and I saw what.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so, I was so disappointed. Wow, was I yeah.
Well, I think your expectations of the film are what color the quality of it. And like going in expecting an Ed Wood, like kind of it's the production values are too good for the film. And then some of them are painfully bad. You know, like some of the effects and stuff. There's a couple of early CG shots and stuff that are kind of laughable, but I can't say I didn't have fun going back and looking at it a little bit. So if you have the time to do it, which is, I know, like in abundance, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, you know what though? I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind it. You know, I need to check it back out again. But yeah. What a disappointment.
Right.
For me.
Well, Harley, I've also been on a, last few weeks here, been on an Exorcist freak out. I'm freaking out on Exorcist stuff. So where do I turn? I tell you where I turn. I'll tell you where I turn. Now, I'd say about, like 10 years ago, maybe, or something around those parts, there was a couple different Exorcist prequels that came out. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think so. Yeah.
What started off here, now this is interesting. This is not unlike The Island of Dr. Moreau, and I'm not so sure I didn't go back and watch Moreau due to going back and watching these Exorcist films, because the thing is that The Exorcist: The Beginning was put out in theaters, directed by Renny Harlin. All right, who was actually Gina Davis's husband and did like Cutthroat Island, and I think he might have did Die Hard 2, which I hate. A couple other things like that. Okay. So anyway, he does this movie and it gets panned. Well, you've come to find out that Paul Schrader. Okay, Paul Schrader, I do not have any of this in front of me. I do believe Paul Schrader was responsible for the Cat People remake and did some like Scorsese. I think he might have wrote Taxi Driver, actually.
Really?
Did this movie, this Exorcist prequel. And he turned it in and they said, oh, this is not usable. We can't do this. We can't do anything with this. I'm like, oh my good gravy, you know? So, so they end up reshooting 90% of the film and releasing it with Renny Harlin's version. When his version tanked, they decided to acquiesce and release Paul Schrader's version of the movie.
Wow. Okay.
So it's basically if you gave someone a outline of a film and you gave it to two completely different filmmakers and they made it with the same star and the same gist of what's going on. And here you go.
Okay.
Then Harley, so here's the deal. I got the Exorcist 3 Blu-ray. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not done yet. Now, this is the one that Joel, our good buddy Joel Robinson, did the artwork for, the Scream Factory, Shop Factory. Okay, now, we're going to have to review this because on there is William Peter Blatty's cut of Exorcist 3. Okay?
Really?
He did his own version of this film. There is no Nicole Williamson in it. There is no Exorcist. That stuff was added in. As a matter of fact, the scenes that we love with Brad Dourif and Jason Miller, those are all reshoots. Really? And the original versions of all that, the room they were in was like stone, like real gothic stone looking, not the padded walls and stuff. So they reshot all of Brad Dourif's performance and added Jason Miller. Okay. Really? So basically Exorcist 3 also has a completely different version that Harley, I already have a disc for you to send to you and everything that we're going to have to look at, review, and discuss. Here's my thing.
Sure.
What franchise has more, speaking of hand-wringing, has more hand-wringing over what the hell they're going to release to people than the Exorcist films? It is absolutely insane. It's insane. All of them. Even The Exorcist, William Peter Blatty and Friedkin argued about it. They argued about it. Like, Friedkin wanted like 10 seconds of the movie left in. It completely changed the whole movie to him and stuff. And Blatty did. And Friedkin didn't want it in there. It's like, oh my God. Anyway, Exorcist, freak out.
Make a decision, right?
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, the Paul Schrader version of the Exorcist prequels is much better than Rennie Harlin's version. Yeah, it's a little less Hollywood. It's a little more of a story-driven thing. But both of them could not have been made, and I would have slept really well the same night.
Sure.
Yeah, I am curious to see this Exorcist 3. That again, it is a Scream Factory, Shop Factory.
I didn't know that. That's.
Well, I watched the making of because I just thought that, hey, I'll watch the making of this. And it's a new documentary about Exorcist 3. I bought the Blu-ray. I don't necessarily want to watch the movie. And then by the time I got through the fucking making of it, I wanted to watch both versions back to back to see. And I just watched the one like a week or two ago. So it's like, man, maybe I'm getting possessed, Ben Harley. Maybe I'm getting possessed. Yeah. All right, moving on here, Ben Harley. Some documentaries, a couple documentaries here. Sure. Let's see. You're gonna like this one, okay? Watch the movie Hell's Highway: The True Story of Highway Safety Films. You need Amazon Prime, my friend. You really need. I do. This is a movie, and this actually is about Ohio, because all those Driver's Ed, gory, disturbing horror movies you would watch in Driver's Ed or whatever. A lot. Yeah. I think most of them were produced in Ohio.
Ohio.
Actually, it was the Ohio Highway Patrol or something. And anyway, this tells the whole story about the filmmakers that made those movies, that made the highway safety gory movies, and the guys that actually filmed the real wrecks they would put in there, like the real gore and stuff like that. Pretty interesting, especially when the story veers off into the rumors that company was making porns in the back of a school bus. It got pretty interesting as time went on. I got to hand it to this Hell's Highway, this true story. I like this. This was interesting. This was pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds like it. That's pretty.
On Amazon Prime, Hell's Highway, the true story of the highway safety films. All right, now, Ben Harley, another documentary on Amazon Prime. Did I happen to mention you should get Amazon Prime? Did I tell you about this? I did, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I watched a documentary called Jaws Finatics. Not Fanatics. Fin, as in there's a fin on a shark. Yeah. Fanatics. Yeah. So a guy on Facebook, basically I guess he runs a couple of Jaws pages. You're probably on him. You probably know who this guy is.
Jim Beller is his name?
No, actually, I think the guy that actually put the movie together was named Todd E. Braley. or Brawley or Braley or something like that. But I do believe that this Jim Beller gentleman was on the documentary. I believe he's a prolific collector. Is that right, Harley?
Yes. He's supposed to have the largest Jaws collection. And he also has a couple of my shirts in there, Tim.
Really? How'd that happen?
Yeah. A friend of his came to one of the shows, I think, when we were at Horror Hound. And he's like, and said the same thing. My buddy has the largest Jaws collection. And he's like, I got to get him one of these shirts. So he bought one. And then actually after that, Jim and I connected through Facebook. And then he ordered a couple more shirts of mine. So he has all my Jaws shirts in his collection. So I'm very proud of that fact. Let me tell you.
Good.
Really
Oh, yeah. Well, whoever the friend was, he might have been on the documentary too. So like I said, it's basically this guy, he asked people to send video testimonies and kind of use that to produce the doc. Now, for the movie itself, it's over 2 hours long. It's, I'd say, and I could be way off on this, but it looked like a dozen to 15 people that they were kind of toggling back and forth between.
We've met another one of the gentlemen, possibly might have been in there too. He was the guy that owns like the Jaws, the bust or whatever, the head.
The guy, the larger gentleman with like the longer black hair and goatee and stuff like that. I don't think
mustache.
I don't think he was actually on there. They might have had a picture of him or something. This was really fans of the movie. And cool. I think what was hard, it was kind of difficult to understand like what authority someone had to speak on some of the stuff. And I don't really believe there was any. I just think it was people. Sure. So it was a little bit like just watching Jaws fans talk about how much they like Jaws is really, it's really what it was. And they did have like different age groups, which was interesting, I guess. Like, and of course, some of these younger whippersnappers, like one guy, like they were asking what your favorite Jaws movie is. I'm like, does that even have to be a question?
I sure would hope not.
Well, it was. It was. And one little clown, he kept going, well, I tend to gravitate toward the ones that are maligned a little bit more. So I go back and forth between 3 and 4. I'm like, just saying something that isn't any good is good. Doesn't make any cooler. I'm 44. I went through that thing. No, I'm sorry, but no, it just doesn't. There was another guy on there too that I'll tell you what, if I was in a dark alley with this guy, I'd get out of the alley pretty quick. Like he didn't look like both of his eyes moved in unison, and I don't think I recall seeing him blink once during it. But
so he might be a lizard man.
He could be. And I'm not trying to like make fun of him a whole lot, but like because I'm afraid of him, to be quite frank with you. But he started telling stories like, my mom took me to see it when I was 9. Now, nobody should see this movie that young. This guy was like, just couldn't get off the fact. And this guy had to have been like 45 himself. And he still looked like he was kind of like sneaky telling you he had seen the movie. He was allowed to see the movie. I'm like, are you serious? And then he talked about how he was in a department store with his mom. And he said they were playing a trailer for it at the department. He's like, I couldn't believe they were playing this trailer right in the middle of a crowded department store. People shouldn't be seeing this. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, seriously, what are you talking about? It's a PG movie with some shark attacks in it. I'm like, it did get a little frustrating at times, but I think that's kind of the nature of these movies in a way, like these documentaries, like we were talking last week about the 50 horror films you've never seen and things. The nature of it is these movies are necessarily made for, I don't know, this one was kind of made for Jaws fans though. And I think some of it might frustrate you and some of it might make you cheer. I think if you're watching, if you had Amazon, you could see it. But since you're not snooty enough to have that,
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Working on my snootiness. Yeah.
Well, since this little clown guy said that, 3 and 4 are my favorite. Okay. He's like, well, 4 is the first one I saw in a theater, so that's the one. Well, I think I might have seen the second one in a theater first. I think I saw the second one in the theater. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I
was lucky or unlucky, I should say, enough to see all 4.
I know I saw the third and fourth one at the theater. I know I did because I saw Jaws in 3D, Jaws 3D in 3D. So we were talking about that. So I decided, Harley, to whip out my Blu-ray, Blu-ray of Jaws, of Jaws 3D. Now I even was going to stick my goggles on, but I packed them. Because we're moving to Dermal Ridge. So I watched Jaws 3D in 2D. Believe it or not. Ooh, I really did. I sat down, and it's only like a little over an hour and a half. So I sat down and looked at it after watching this documentary. And the one thing that kind of surprised me that I guess I never stuck with me before is that Jaws 3 was also written by Carl Gottlieb, but it was also co-written by Richard Matheson, who's written just about damn near everything, including I Am Legend and stuff. And apparently Matheson said that the story that he was tinkering around with had the shark coming up a river and getting stuck in a lake, like an inlet lake or something like that. And apparently he said there was a lot of hands in the cookie jar in writing. Well, if he wrote a story about about a shark going up a river into a lake, a few people tinkered with that a little bit. A few people.
Peter Benchley did too.
So let me tell you something about Jaws 3. I did see it in theater. I did see it in 3D. That's probably the main reason, kind of, to watch it. But it is, it's stupid. It's silly, but it's at least fun and kind of entertaining. As opposed to...
It has its moments.
Yeah, as opposed to Jaws Revenge. It's just fucking painful.
Oh,
yeah. It's painful.
God awful. I know, Tim, I was kind of... I think I was asking you via text, what's wrong with you? Why, Timo? Why, man? Because you're... Not only did you do The Exorcist 2, you went straight to Jaws 3. Are you trying to inflict pain on yourself? Are you trying?
I think I'm just going I don't know what's going on with me here. It's like I think I've ran through so many of the 50s movies at this point that I'm starting to look for something else. Like, I don't know, going through weird sequels.
Tim, are you a sadist? Is that what it is?
Yeah, a little bit. Pretty much, yeah. I pretty much am, yeah. But I actually did rent Jaws for the Revenge because I realized I don't have it. I don't have it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked if you see that but I don't know if but I might watch it because I want to see the nose blow up. I want to see the shark's nose blow up.
Oh. You know, Tim, I remember who I went with to see Jaws 3 and who took us and where we got picked up. But I just, that was one of the first films, I think, for me, that I was just like, wait a second, because up until then you liked everything. I liked Jaws 2. I still like Jaws 2. I think Jaws 2 is a great movie. I think it's way better than I even thought when I was younger. I do. I just think it's a good movie. But, Jaws 3. Woo. I remember thinking, I tried to like it. I really did. Then my one friend took off the glasses during the movie. He's like, it looks better like this. And I thought to myself, this movie sucks. He's not even wearing his glasses. He don't even care. I'm like, this movie blows. And I still feel that way about that film. I don't know.
I'll tell you what.
It does have its moments.
He took his glasses off because he was scared. That's why he took his glasses off, because I kept taking my glasses off because I was tired of like reeds and frogs and things like falling in my eyeballs. There's really only one or two good moments.
Louis Gossett's poking a stick at you or whatever.
Yeah. But I honestly, it was okay. I didn't have a horrible time watching it.
It's got a great cast.
It does have a great cast.
It's got a fantastic cast.
It's still people from the original. I mean, Joe Alves was like a designer on like the first two, and he directed it. The same writing, more or less. He had Carl Gottlieb going in. It's just, I don't know. I mean, when I went and saw it, I just remember thinking I knew it wasn't as good as I knew it was more of a popcorn thing than Jaws was. Jaws 2 to me, I have an uneasy relationship with because I do like it a lot, but sometimes I last couple times I watched, I wasn't sure it was holding up So I kind of retreated a little bit, just like, I don't want to think this about Jaws 2, you know, but I kind of, but I do still, and it's got our girl in it, Donna. I can't think of her last, but yeah.
Wilkes.
I think. That's Wilkes. It. Yeah. We fought over her, Harley, didn't we, at a show?
A little bit.
I think I kind of won. That was the one I won.
I think she was sweet on Timo.
I think she was too. That's what was funny about it. But anyway, so it was
she
funny.
wrote sweet nothings on your picture. To me, she just said here. I think it said here.
It said like best wishes or something. Mine was nice to meet you, and and I was like, oh boy.
Golly.
Ironically, she was wearing fishnets, if you remember.
Yeah, she was.
Too.
Yeah,
so, but anyway, I had fun, Harley. I had kind of fun watching it, and I'm sure I had more fun than I might have if I do actually put my eyeballs on Jaws Revenge. But I got a horror hound to go to. This weekend, so I don't know if I'll actually do that.
Don't get me started on Jaws Revenge.
I might have to next week. But what you got? Do you watch Jaws Revenge or Jaws 3 or?
Yeah, Timo, I've watched something similar to that. I've been wanting to speak to you about. This film, though, actually makes Jaws for the Revenge look like Saving Private Ryan.
Ooh,
so
wow.
This one.
Wow.
It's a little movie, which also had a great cast in it, but this is a little movie called Tentacles. That was on the Comet Channel.
Now, on the documentary, the Jaws documentary, they did have one segment where they asked, what was your favorite Jaws ripoff? Couple people mentioned Orca. Most people went to Grizzly. Oh,
cool.
Yeah. But
good. As long as they didn't go to Tentacles.
That being said, Tentacles was mentioned. I think the same kid that liked Jaws 3 and 4 thought Tentacles was the best. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Well, that right there will tell you all you need to know.
Yes.
Now, this was on, I caught it in 2 different segments. So, woof.
Yeah.
And Timo, this is going to sound mean, but like, I have a daughter who has autism, okay? So I deal with it every day. So maybe I'm a little bit more versed in autism, the aspects of autism. But this movie seems like it was directed by someone who would have done a spaghetti Western. And then when he would turn around, his little autistic brother would take over because, oh my God, it was like, it would go from, and I remember some of the soundtrack, there's a part where the octopus attacks a boat and this girl's trying to swim away to a buoy. And I swear to God, it was like, it had the music from Django. And I was like, wait a second, is this Italian?
Yes.
I have to ask Timo about that. Boom, there we go.
Matter of fact, it's the same producer who produced one of our official films this week. Believe it or not. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Claude Atkins in Tentacles?
Yes.
Well, there you go. So you starting to see the connection?
Yeah.
There you go. Same person responsible. Yeah. There you go.
But this film, one part where the octopus, it's like a boat race, and he attacks a bunch of the sailboats, and it's just like, it'll go from like a sailboat getting attacked to a happy guy on the beach smiling at an ice cream cone.
Yep.
And then it'll go back to, I couldn't even keep up with it. It was just, it was jarring. Let me tell you, I like some silly stuff like that, but oh my God, this film is horrible. And it has like, who else is in it? It has,
it's got Shelley Winters in it. Henry Fonda.
Shelley Winters.
Isn't John Huston in it?
John Huston's in it. Yeah. Like it's, and what's his name too? He's another low budget 70s star. It doesn't matter right now. So, but you could have put Jerry Reed in there for fuck's sake. It would have been just as good. So, yeah, Timo, like I said, I've been on a few autistic, journeys of emotion with my daughter Ruby, and I felt like I was actually on one, because like I said, there's jarring moments and then happy moments, all just strewn, together. So yeah, yikes.
Yeah, I remember watching that with Chance. I mean, this was when he was little. He was kind of on his Jaws kick when he was about 6 or so, maybe 7 or something like that. And then so we decided to watch Tentacles, and he walked upstairs bored, not scared. He just didn't care. It was just bad.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's bad.
Really bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
So one thing, Tim, I'll try to keep it paranormal, sharky, werewolfish, maybe. How about that?
All right.
That's
a challenge. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, this is something I think you would have enjoyed. It's called Paranormal Witness, and I don't know that I've watched the show before. I do catch some of the paranormal stuff on Destination America or whatever. Yeah. Really good. Some of it's good, some of it's just boring. I'm not scared. You're not scaring me. So somebody's light turned on in their laundry room. Okay, maybe you have a faulty light. I just don't care. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just
maybe you forgot to turn it off.
There's usually some explanation. Some there really isn't. Okay, but this one was really interesting, Timo. It's called Paranormal Witness and was about this family who the gentleman, like the father, the head of the family, he was a laborer and hurt himself, so he couldn't work. So his wife kind of took over the reins of working, but they end up moving to a farm, which I thought was interesting because if you can't work, a farm's a lot of work. You know what I mean?
It's not the first place I go to. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And then one night they would sit on the porch, and one night they saw like lights out into the forest, and they went to check out what it was, and they couldn't find anything, but they did kind of feel like there was something out there, maybe. Several days later, they were out there, like their daughter and their daughter's boyfriend were out looking. They found like what looked like a hole in the ground, but a pretty good size one. But, they didn't really investigate too much. Well, nights later, they're out on the porch again. And the lady, the wife is kind of like, what is that? And she's looking out towards the forest. And what appeared to be like a werewolf, you know what I mean? And what I liked about this Paranormal Witness is it was very well done. And these werewolves kind of, Tim, I don't know what they were. They look like werewolves, okay? But they look like in between the werewolves that movie we watched with the train, the English one.
Yeah, Howl.
Yeah. Howl, yeah. They looked in between that and like maybe a bat or the werewolves from The Howling.
No, wait, were these
from far away?
Yeah, I was going to say, were they photos supposed to be real photos, or were they supposed to be reenactments?
No, these were reenactments.
Okay.
Actually, I was really impressed with, because a lot of these reenactments I don't like.
Right.
And this one was really good. And these they looked like they would show them. Like they just started to like come up towards the porch, and they were like, "Oh shit, there's one there. Wait, no, there's one over there." And you see red eyes and a shadow figure, and you're like, "Holy crap!" And the next thing they know, there's like 5 of them. Well, they make it into the house, but the wife doesn't like guns, so she makes the father. He has the guns are out in the barn, which at this point are useless.
Right.
And he wants to try to make his way out there to them. And basically the whole reenactment is of them surviving the night. He goes out to try to retrieve these, and one of the wolves or werewolves or whatever, bat wolf or whatever it was. And these things look good. They really looked good, and they didn't hide them that much. A lot of them were hidden in the shadows, but they would show them too. And they had faces kind of like bats, but they looked like those Howl werewolves.
Right.
But they were afraid, like they were coming at him, and then like one of the motion detectors came on, and it kind of stopped the werebat in its tracks. And which was kind of neat too. But like I said, the reenactment was just really well done. And these werewolves or whatever they were really well done too. Now, no one was killed or attacked or anything. At one point, he tried to make his way again out to the barn, and he made sure those lights were on, and they would like surround him, but they wouldn't go inside the light. And it was just it was one of these ones that I actually took some interest in. I recorded it so I could kind of go back, because I couldn't finish the ending. So I went back and I kind of watched most of it again. And it was really good. Now, like I said, none of them were attacked. The next morning they went out, they found some tracks or whatever, but nothing really came, They didn't say, were they aliens? Why was there light? Did they, what caused these things to come here? But I wanted to mention it because I know you and I both like the werewolves, and I think they did a fantastic job with these werewolves. Look as good as any werewolf I've ever seen in any of our favorite movies, almost too, And it was cool because they would have shots like they'd be looking from up top, looking out, and like the lady said at one point, I was like, "What are these?" They're crouched down, and then one stood up, And she's like, it just blew her mind. She was like, I couldn't even comprehend what I was seeing, you know, when it stood up. And it did. It looked cool. And it was like a way far shot away. The werewolf, whatever, was real small. But when it stood up, you're like, you'd have been the same way. You'd have been like, oh, what the hell is that? You know,
right.
Is that a werewolf? You know what I mean? But really good. It was called Paranormal Witness. Now, I don't know why it was paranormal.
Well, they consider getting Bigfoot and stuff, as long as it's not confirmed by a white scientist. Then they don't know. Then they don't. I guess I consider it kind of paranormal. Some of the werewolf and dogman stuff or whatever. It fascinates me only because of this. I have a real hard time with it. But at the same time, most of the things like a television program or something like that, they're almost the most compelling. As far as like witnesses and things like that. And so it's hard for me because I'm like, these are really compelling people. And now sometimes I think that some of these things start floating into hoax land a little bit more possibility wise and stuff. So again, it's difficult. Not that I don't believe people saw something, but it does kind of make me start going, a little bit. It's the odds of there being a creature and it's really a fucking werewolf, like a werewolf, like not something that could resemble something like it, the werewolf. With the pentagram in its hand and stuff, but not that I'm saying it was going that far. But interesting though, because where do these things go during the day? And I guess it's the same arguments for Bigfoot. And my thing is it the same thing? Is it the same? I don't know.
Because it was kind of neat because at the end they actually showed, now if it looked legitimate, now do I know it was, but they actually showed like a clip of a newscast of people saying about that night, like so many different people had seen that night. Like then they were saying dogman creatures or canine looking people like, and
was this in Wisconsin?
So it could have been, buddy. I think it might have been.
Because there's an old story, The Beast of Bray Road, that was made into an asylum film. That was like an asylum werewolf movie. It wasn't really that bad, actually. It was low budget or anything, but interesting.
Yeah. But I really found it interesting. I thought you would too. It was kind of neat. I was just really impressed by the reenactment and how cool the werewolves looked, or werebats, or whatever you want to call them, Tim. So, Tim, I got a lot to speak of, but I'm going to keep it a little bit short so we can save some of this for later. Okay. Yeah, Timo, let's see. I watched something that you sent me, and I do not believe I have seen this since it came out, and it is called The $6 Million Man vs. Bigfoot.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Whoo-wee. I think now I know why. I think back when I was younger, I remember when it came out. I remember it was such a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I don't ever really remember liking it that much. I mean, I thought it was okay, but I don't think I gravitated towards it very much. And now I kind of can see why. Yeah. And I watched both of them. I watched The Return of, where he's on the Bionic Woman. Yeah. That's, So
they had like one episode as a Bionic Man and one episode as a Bionic Woman, and they both had Bigfoot in it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I even went back and tried to watch them again, and I still was like, oh, they're just bad to me. I'm sorry. I loved The $6 Million Man when I was a kid. Loved it. Right. I remember, my brother actually had the action figure,
Oh, yeah. You could look through the back of its head and see like the scopic
He'd
eye.
see it through his eye. Yeah. And he would curl like an engine block. He was so tough, you know what I mean? I just didn't enjoy it this time. I really didn't, and I hate to be like that because I like Bigfoot. I thought I liked the $6 Million Man, but
I like the one with the crate with the insane robot car that comes after him. That was my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody remembers that one. It had everything on it.
And I'm surprised that's not shown more, like just the $6 Million Man, period. Like on MeTV or something like that.
Well, they're changing the schedule on MeTV now. I wanted to tell you this. Svengoolie, I think, is going to be on at 8 o'clock now your time.
Oh, that's good.
And then Batman will be on right after it. Again.
Okay, cool.
So they've kind of switched things around. I think they still got Wonder Woman on. They got Battlestar on, I think, but they switched around the thing and they made Svengoolie a little bit earlier. I don't know if I like it or not. I'm not sure. It's 7 o'clock my time. So I don't know if I like
early,
it or if I don't like it. I'm not sure yet. It probably just depends. I only watch it when there's something I haven't seen that I want to see.
Sure. Right.
But like I said, most of the time, if there's something I like he's watching, instead of watching his 2-hour version of it, I'll grab a DVD because I usually have it on DVD. I'll grab a DVD and I'll sit down and watch what he's showing, kind of in a way. But yeah, I don't know.
Because there's a couple of shows coming on there that I wish I could catch, but it's while I'm over watching Ruby. I know they just put Hawaii 5-0 on there and TJ Hooker.
Yeah.
But we'll catch up with them later. We're on down the road. How's that?
Right.
Somewhere down the road. But Timo, let's keep it brief. We'll keep these other ones for next week.
Okay.
Because I want to talk on this one a little bit more.
Gotcha.
Well,
let's get to our official films, Mr. Ben Harley. And
all right, Timo.
First one up here was produced by your lovely, I believe his name is Ovidio Asinitis. I used to call him. I don't know if that's Asinitis is exactly how it's pronounced, but it's how it's kind of spelled out. He was the producer of this first film we have here, Ben Harley, from 1987, The Curse.
The Curse.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now this is produced by this gentleman, but it was shot in Tennessee, I believe, or it takes place in Tennessee. One of the two. It is called, The Curse. The Curse.
The Curse.
Yes. Let me get out movie guy here and give you a synopsis here for The Curse. Here we go. All right.
Okay.
Life on the family dairy farm is difficult for young Zach Hayes. Will Wheaton, stand by me. Hard work, long hours, and the normal family squabbles. But after an ice blue meteor plunges through the midnight sky and lands on their property, it gets worse. Zach and the local doctor discover that something inside the meteor is infecting everything living on the farm. Fruits, which look perfect on the outside, are teeming with worms, and Zach's family is beginning to change. Hideously! This shocker is directed by actor David Keith, Firestarter, White of the Eye, and co-stars Claude Atkins, Tentacles, Malcolm Denare, Christine, Cooper Huckabee, The Funhouse, and John Snyder, Smallville. John Schneider is known for Dukes of Hazzard, and I'm putting my foot down for this official little film synopsis. All right.
That boy movie guy.
Yeah, that's Curse there. So this movie, Ben Harley, let me tell you something. I saw this movie when it came out on the VHSs back in the day.
Ooh.
Couldn't wait for it. I saw an article, I believe in Fangoria or something like that, when they were filming it. Now, when I watched it, I was wondering what the hell was wrong. What the hell is wrong? It's like, got everything there for your standard, decent, well-produced mid-late 80s film, but something was just a little bit off. Now I know why. Now I understand why. So now I know it's Italian produced. I admittedly, although it felt that way, I'm not sure I ever really allowed myself to absorb that. Harley, this isn't one of the movies I go back and watch every 6 months, okay? I found out that this is an Now, this makes total sense, by the way. When I looked this stuff up and read it, I was like, this is what makes sense. It is an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's The Color from Space.
Okay.
Then it made total
little more
sense. Yes. Now, I have not read that I can recall. I have not read The Color from Space, but I have seen different adaptations of that before.
Okay.
Now it makes sense. And to be quite frank with you, just to kind of start off, I actually gravitated toward the film a little bit more, knowing it was that story. So I kind of went in with a little bit more of a base knowledge instead of just going in dry. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen this before?
No, sir.
All right. You ever heard of it?
No. Yeah, I've heard of this movie, but no, never seen it.
All right. What'd you think?
Yeah.
Oh. Did I happen to mention? Hold on now. Did I happen to mention that it was directed by David Keith? David Keith, right?
Yeah, I like David Keith.
I know, and it's all the second unit director was Lucio Fulci. I didn't know that either. I swear I didn't know that. I was like, are you kidding me? Second unit director? Really? Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. I had to bring up Lucio.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I will say I enjoyed the first half of this film. It didn't start slow for me. It was okay. You know what I mean? I love Claude Atkins. I love that guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he's in so many cowboy movies and cowboy television shows and horror shows.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff that I just like.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just like him, and he's one of those guys to me. It's like he commands presence when he's on camera. You know what I mean? He just does. He was BJ and the Bear, wasn't he, for crying out loud? Wasn't he BJ and the Bear?
I think he was on a lot. Yes. Claude, Tarantula, SOS, Deadly Cargo, Atkins. Yes.
Yes. But this movie for me, and I hate to keep saying these things, but it's like it lacked a lot of like either monster, and then by the time they got it, something of a monster going, I was out, and I think for me, this was one of those movies that started out like it's this real good movie. It's a good build, like, something bad's going to happen, but it's just good. You kind of like some of the characters. They're okay. There's good acting in it, but for me, it petered out like halfway through. I was like, oh, this movie blows, man. I don't know. And then by the end, the whole climax at the end of the house imploding and everything, I was just like, I don't care. I don't care. And I just didn't really, I had a problem, I guess, right off the bat too, even though I said I'm not kidding you. I enjoyed the first half of this film, but like, I guess when they came and wasn't it John Schneider's character at the beginning? Like he's got the stuff on his face.
Yeah, it's in the water.
And it's just like a couple little spots. And I'm like, oh no, it's going to be one of these films, and I'm not really much into those kind, and I'm thinking to myself, I hope there's something more to it. And then at one point too, because the mom gets infected, I'm like, does nobody notice the giant wart? I noticed him from across the room the first time she was in there. And basically it wasn't even the wart. It was just like they put like a little bit of maybe like lighter foundation on her face.
It looks like they mixed some chewing
that's gonna
gum
be a wart in 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, some chewing gum and some oatmeal, wrap it up and stick it on the old face. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. I just, so like it just, for me, once the meteor landed and stuff like that, it got worse for me. I just think it got worse. And there's some really there's some uncomfortable scenes. There's, there's some I'm like, well, why are they showing this scene? I mean, this movie doesn't seem like it needs any erotica in it.
Yeah.
I like my erotica in my horror films. I do. But this, I was just thinking maybe this really didn't need it. And then there's just one part I'm like, I don't know. It just seemed awkward.
Oh, yeah. It's Italian, and they're trying to do something in the United States, and it happens a lot when it feels kind of awkward because you do have, it's almost like there's two styles of filmmaking clashing in a way. And that I think that could be what we are feeling and what I felt all those years ago when I saw it the first time. Look, you got Will Wheaton, who was pretty hot at the time. I mean, you just come off Stand By Me and Claude Atkins has always been hot
too.
He was a hunk for a skinny 14-year-old. And then you got the fat dude from Christine. He's the brother. He's a shithead brother.
He's terrible.
But the coolest thing was Cooper Huckabee from the Funhouse.
Yeah,
was the doctor guy in it. Look, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this movie needed more John Schneider. I can't believe I'm saying it.
More General Lee.
It needed more John Schneider because he was the guy trying to figure out what was going on. And the family was just happening to him, but they weren't explaining anything. They were just ignoring it the whole time. Now, that is a little bit like The Color from Space. There is a bit of all this going on. And so that's why I kind of gravitated a little bit more than I had before. But here's my thing. It's clumsy. It's uneven. Yeah. Like I said, it's like two filmmaking styles clashing. It's the editing is uneven. Some of the music is way cheesy. It feels rushed. That's an Italian trope. And then it feels cheap in one moment and then not in the next. And there's a lot of, now follow me here. And I think, see if you can recall this or not. I think you can. There's a lot of jittery camera work. And I don't mean, shaky cam. I mean, like they're trying to hold it still and failed.
And failed.
And so that being said, the cinematography is super uneven. Super uneven. And it's a little bleak. So it's kind of ripping the fun out of some of it because look, the family, you don't like them. And the whole family dynamic is sad. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Because like Will Wheaton and his sister are like orphaned or something. Oh, no. I'm sorry. The mom, that's like the real mom, but she remarried. And that's the son is his son. And he's real abusive and overly zealot religious guy and stuff. The one thing that I will say, it's not typical Lovecraft though. It's not typical H.P. Lovecraft. That's what I got to say about it. I'm going to wrap it up like this. This movie is not a good movie. It's a misfire. But I will admit that this is probably the 4th or 5th time I've seen this, maybe a little bit more. And I enjoyed it more this time than I ever had before. Maybe because I knew it was Color from Space and I was ready for a shit movie. So maybe it elevated it to where I saw the good things as opposed to before where the bad things stuck out. I was expecting a train wreck and I got more of like a Yugo hitting like a curb in a way instead of a train wreck.
Sure.
Yeah. But that was kind of my take on it a little bit. I can't believe I'm saying it needed more John Schneider to pull the plot through.
To pull it together.
How do you need more John Schneider? God.
They're like, you what? No one's ever said that.
Yeah. But you didn't like it. You didn't like it at all then.
No, Tim, I didn't like it at all.
That was my first reaction, first time.
Believe it or not, I liked the cover art. I thought the cover art was sweet, man. I was like, oh, cool. I'm getting in. And I thought to myself, maybe I'm getting myself into something real nice here. Mm-hmm. But I just think like the first half is good. I give the first half a grape ape up. Mm-hmm. The second half, I give it was so boring and just unbelievable. And I didn't care about what was going on with the people. And it turned into like, when Claude Akins came out and he was infected, I felt bad for Claude Akins. I'm like, man, this poor guy, this guy is a legend and you're putting this crap on his face. And I just thought, man, I wanted better for him right there. Is that wrong?
No.
I don't know.
Look, I can't, for some reason, I was planning on pooping on this. All right. But I think because at this time around, I didn't hate it so bad and I actually kind of stayed awake and it kept me through. I'm not going to grape ape up it at all. Not even mild. I'm just going to do one of those.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence, but I'm hanging by one finger on the poop side, basically.
Okay,
but again, just a couple things that maybe it was the fact I saw in widescreen. I'm not sure I've ever seen this movie in widescreen. It was shot really wide, so I could have picked up a few things. That I didn't before.
Another thing that upsets me, man. Here, this movie is out on Blu-ray, but the
Prophecy.
How in the hell is that? Prophecy, Orca. I know we have Orca, but like Prophecy's 10 times the movie. This is 10 times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It is. It just is. Bad bear costume and all.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't care.
Totally agree. Yeah.
It's 10 times the film. And and then that stuff upsets me, which come on, I'm not like upset where I'm going to cry or go home or kick a can. But I just, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm going upstairs.
I just don't. Yeah, I'm going home. But like, it does. That type of stuff upsets me because then I start to think to myself, who in the hell was liking these movies back in the day? But was I that wrong in the movies I liked when I was young? I don't know.
No, this was I'm saying. It's 87. We're hitting the tip of it's not the golden era anymore. Now it's just a bunch of rehashes and money grabs. To me. So like I said, I'm sure pooping on this, right? This is the poop of poops. Yeah. And I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to stay on the fence, but I'm going to say I completely understand and empathize with everybody who hates this movie, never liked it. This time was the best for me. Okay, now there is also Curse 2, The Bite, which is only a sequel by name.
They bite.
It's just Bite, The Bite, and it's only a sequel in name alone, and actually stars Jill Shainman, who I can look at for an hour and a half.
Sure.
So, anyway. So that's my poop and for the curse. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's get to our second official film, Mr. Ben Harley here.
Okay.
We have from 1972, the British film Tower of Evil. Also known as Horror on Snape Island. Also known as This was re-released in theaters, Ben Harley, in 1980, and you tell me if you know why. Because it was also released under the title Beyond the Fog.
Oh,
yes. So it was released for a little while, re-released after The Fog as a loose sequel and title again to The Fog.
Okay,
let me get the movie guy back out here, and I'll give you a synopsis for Tower of Evil.
Okay.
Tower of Evil. And let's see. Oh, there's a blurb. It's a poster art blurb here in the front of it. You ready for this one? There you go. A night of pleasure becomes a night of terror. All right. All right, let's get to...
Why not?
Yes. Okay, let's get to synopsis here. Here we go. From horror producer Richard Gordon in Seminoid, First Man into Space, Fiend Without a Face, Horror Hospital, comes one of the most brutal and mysterious stories ever to be released on DVD and Blu-ray. Ever. I said ever. Tower of Evil is a haunting tale set in and around a deserted lighthouse on a fog-shrouded Snape Island. The terror begins when a nude, crazed woman slaughters a sailor who visits the island. When she is taken back to civilization and an ancient relic is discovered, an expedition is mounted to solve the mystery of the island, which leads to a series of psychosexual murders. Okay. Pretty close. Yep. There's some,
pretty close.
Yeah, there's some people who are on the island, some kids. I guess, look, there's two sailors. One's, he's an old crotchety sailor, and one's a younger, older crotchety sailor. I think it's a father and son, believe it or not. They go to Snape Island, and there's a bunch of, they find a lot of nude dead people. Lots of man butts, lots of things like that going on, lots of things going on. And then a woman who is obviously in shock and terrified comes ripping out of a closet somewhere and kills the old fella. All right. They bring her back to civilization. They put her on the Exorcist 2 hypnosis machine, and she begins to recount what happened to her, and they intersplice that a little bit with the people going now to see what the heck happened. And there's a couple people there that are there for nefarious reasons. They know there's some buried, some kind of
treasure.
It's like maybe a pagan god treasured stuff or whatever, like relics and things like that. And believe it or not, I do believe that most of these people are supposed to be scientists in some capacity.
Yeah.
Yes. Those women were, and men. I think they'd spend a lot more time working out than studying the brain. That's just my own personal thing. See, this was directed by James O'Connelly, who did Valley of Gwangi, and also did Berserk. Yeah.
Really?
With their Joan Crawford in it. Yeah. Again, 1972 British film. Ben Harley, give it to me. What'd you think here of Tower of Evil?
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen Tower of Evil. Dude, this one, I don't know if it was just me, possibly, but at first I was, man, right off the bat, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. This you got like everything you need, for a spooky. It's that like Scooby-Doo-esque fog, and you know what I mean? You could cut it with a knife fog. They're in a boat, and they're at we might run ashore, and they're pushing themselves offshore, and then they go on the island, and they find a dead guy, stuck with a sword up against the wall, and then the girl comes out, and she's stabbing, and all hell breaks loose real quick, and I'm like, this is gonna be great. Then they went back and started doing the hypnosis stuff. And the movie gets really confusing to me. I don't know. You know me, sometimes I have a hard time with the British accents and stuff. But man, this movie can be confusing because what then happens is they're asking her about what happened, their hypnosis, but the whole time they're doing that, and then they're also going back to the island.
Right.
They keep mixing the two together.
Right. They're jumping back and forth between flashbacks and the present. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Man, it made it confusing. Yeah. It just, I was like, oh no, did I miss something? I went back. No, you didn't miss a damn thing. They're just, you know what I mean? Like, oh God, that was a little bit confusing to me. This movie, it's also, was kind of hard for me it's what I liked about the beginning with the dreamy creepiness. I think they did too much throughout the film. It just I don't know. Everything just did feel off kilter a little, but I think they could have used it for a little bit more creep factor. It just, and the creep factor is in this film, but it has nothing to do with the hillbilly guy that's running around killing people or whatever, or the old curmudgeon, the old bridge troll.
Right.
I don't know.
Well,
it just doesn't. Like the people themselves, there's a couple creepy scenes. Like there's the one main girl in the film. She's after the younger guy in the film, right? Like she's like a knockout. Just oh wow, I liked her all the way through the film, except for like when she actually got in bed with that guy, and I was creeped out. I felt icky. I needed a shower after that scene. I was just like, oh my God, is it her? Did they put in a stunt double for her face? Because it's god awful. I don't know, Tim. I didn't know where to go with this movie. I was like, I kept thinking, just go with it. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. The picture's great on this. And I don't know, did I give you a DVD or is it a Blu-ray?
Yeah, no, DVD.
Okay.
DVD, yeah.
The picture's really good on it. Now on the Blu-ray, the audio is just, it's piss poor. It's just the audio is like you got to crank it up or then turn it down, which I don't not like. They need to compress this audio a little bit more and kind of limit it a little bit more to kind of even that out. And this is bad. It's so you have to really pay attention. It's like a Hammer's 60s, like a 60s Hammer movie crossed with an 80s slasher film in a way. And it has a lot of movies that are going to come later. It has a lot of Hell Night, a lot of Humongous, with the feral people, and the twist is that.
Now, I could be wrong, Timo. It reminded me of like Dark Shadows a little bit for some
really
reason.
See that,
just the feel of it. Yeah, I don't know.
I think the thing is
not like a soap opera, but kind of like, I don't know. It's just there was so much other things going on like that around it,
Yeah. Well, the story it's a cross between Hell Night and Humongous. Because and this is what I think, if you didn't catch this, the movie probably just completely floated away. Because what the story is that the woman was out there with two sons. Not one son, two sons. And one of them, and you have to really listen to what, especially the old fisherman guy who takes him out there. The guy is he's actually looking for treasure and stuff. And it was his dad that gets killed in the beginning. But he tells the story. You just have to kind of pay attention. At the moments you're not really thinking you need to pay attention. That's, I think, what kind of happened in the story, because he tells you that one of them was supposedly dead, but he keeps saying that the other son has never hurt anybody. So he's never hurt anybody up until now, up until these kids got there, according to the fisherman guy, like the older guy. I kept waiting for him to look down at one of them and go, "That'll do, pig. That'll do."
Yeah.
I swear to God. His name's Jack Watson. He's from Peeping Tom, but he definitely has a James Cromwell thing going on. But I swear to you, I kept waiting for it. I even told Angio, "That'll do, pig. That'll do." So you have to kind of listen to that guy, because, and here's a problem. Like, if
I know he talks to the one girl, and he has the picture of like the family. And stuff, because
and if you're printing, if you miss any of that, see, this is a movie you think you can do that with, but come to find out, you kind of can't, because here's the other thing too. It's got a little bit of Hell Night to it, where you had to listen to the story and count the victims and kind of figure out what's going on. And Humongous is out in the island with a mother trying to care for her deformed baby or children or whatever. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that going on. Right. I like all that. I really, really do. I do not disagree with you though, that the back and forth in time gets kind of weird. I like what they're doing with it. I just don't know if it came off quite correctly. Of course, this was 1972. We're watching this a long time after it came out. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. I'll tell you what, though. To me, it has a really cool, eerie feel and atmosphere to it. The whole thing does, with the island and everything. It really does. Yeah. I mean, it's foreboding. It is foreboding. Oh, yeah. And it's a pretty hard R for sex and nudity. In 72, you don't see a whole lot of full male nudity, and I question the director's motives with some of them fellas. Yeah, I was doing the old mom thing over to Angie. I was like, "Close your eyes. Are you kidding me? You're not looking at those muscular buttocks. I'm going to look at them, baby." Yeah. But there was a lot of that And look, I mean, this was 1972. Ben Harley, for God's sake. I mean, I wasn't born until 1973. I hadn't even had the opportunity to get naked yet. And these people are pulling this shit all over the
all over
theater
the place.
screens. Yeah. But look, here's the thing. I kind of get what you're saying. I really think you should watch this on a dark night sometime. Not that they're not all dark, but on like a stormy night or something, like when you can focus in on it, because I think you'll get a little bit more out of it. And it's not perfect, and it's not as good as like Humongous or Hell Night or something like that. But man, is it right there? I mean, it's right there. You know, as far as like what kind of movie and.
I think it's got all the qualities of the films that I like. I don't know. It just seemed kind of slow and tedious for me after a while. I kind of got, you know, but I mean, I think you could rename this Boobs, Babes, and Blood maybe or something, you know, like Boobs, Blades. Yeah. Not babes, blades, and blood. Something like that.
Well, and, you know, I think the whole thing with the treasure, with the demon, the ball demon character, with the occult and the I think it gets in the way, and I think that might be what muddies it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it just muddies it up. I mean, I think it's not that important. It's a sort of a I don't know. It's a reason for a couple of the people to be into some chicanery, I guess, but it really never even nothing really ever comes of it. You know, I mean, at all. So it's kind of didn't need it. That you just didn't need. The caves were enough. To wonder who's down in the caves is enough. You know, you don't have to find demon gods and stuff, because it makes you think you're going to have a demon god attacking people and stuff. It's nothing about that.
That's what kind of threw me when they had that thing at the end. You know, right down in the caves, like I don't know. It was like a gold. I don't know what it was supposed to be. It was just a gold idol.
It was a statue of Baal. Yeah, the demon Baal or whatever.
It didn't much look like.
Well, here's something interesting. The main guy in the movie, the guy with the handsome guy with the not so handsome complexion. I don't know if he looked familiar to you or not, but he
a little bit,
yeah, he was Bryant Holiday. And he was the star of the movie Devil Doll, where he had a dummy, and the dummy came to life. But he had like a Snidely Whiplash mustache goatee type thing in that movie. And here's something I did not know. I did not know this at all. I had no clue. That gentleman, that guy, Brian Holiday, is a co-founder of Janus Films or Janu Films and Criterion, the Criterion Collection.
Really?
Him. Co-founder right there.
Crazy.
That guy. That guy and Tower of Evil and Horror on Snape Island and Beyond the Fog.
Snape.
Yeah, that guy. So I did not know that at all. That was very fascinating to me. That's a very cool collection, and you know, and everything. So, and God knows I've seen the Janus. I call it Janus. It's probably pronounced Janu or something like that. Films. But I see that almost everything I watch when I'm getting snooty. You know, so, but look, I'm going to give this movie a good solid grape ape up. That's me. Now, I know this story. I've seen this a couple times. And I think I appreciate it for what it is. I wish they would get rid of the demonology part of it. I kind of don't think they need to do the flashback thing. But I'm going to forgive it because it took the arrows for what came after it. It made the mistakes for the movies that came after it that hopefully didn't fall into the same ones. I'm going to get real solid grape ape up actually for me, but how about you?
I'm going to have to on this one, Tim. Yeah, 2 in a row.
Nudity all over the place.
I know. Some of it good, some some of it are. But I don't know. I couldn't warm up to this movie. I just couldn't. And then like I said, the main killer guy just looked like
Gabby Hayes.
No, the guy was in House 2.
Royal Dano.
Yeah, is that him? The guy that played
the old Royal Dano? Yeah.
Reminded me of him, and you know, with a bad beard. Well,
it had a kind of a raw meat look to him, where the guy was living in the sewers and it did have that. I'm going to give you that. The guy didn't exactly have the prosthetics that Dick Smith would have put on his face. Yeah, he just looked like he was. He looked like a. I don't know, just a bearded guy, like a disheveled, dirty guy. Yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with you there. And then the brother, the evil brother, I'm not even sure I can make out a facial feature on that guy. I couldn't even understand what he was, but I did appreciate what they were doing with that. I think that was handled a little clumsy myself.
Yeah.
That there was two of them. That was handled very, as opposed to Hell Night, which was clumsy, not clumsy. You just had to watch for it in Hell Night. Sure. When there's like more than one guy running around. So, but I don't know. Like you said, you're pooping on it. I'm giving it a great babe. I still think you need to see it again and pay attention to it a little bit closer with the volume up to 10.
Timo. I really, yeah, that's true too. Mm-hmm. I know there's one part though. There's a screaming sequence, and I was watching it back here the other day. I thought people are gonna think I am actually murdering someone in here. They really are gonna call the police on me anytime now. I just feel
maybe your buddies will get to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Down your basement hearing that going on. Get to work. Come on, he's killing people again. Yeah. Oh, he's pissed off. He's in one of his moods. Oh, geez. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're pooping on it. Well, you had a bad week.
Yes.
Oh, God. You've been cranky. You've been movie cranky.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Cranky
Good lordy. The dog man put the curse on you. Jeez.
It did.
Yowzers. All right. Well, Harley, I don't know what the hell we're doing next week, but God, for your sake, I hope it's better. I got to go to a horror hound this week. I don't want it to be for nothing because I'm going to miss. I'm going to have a chance to watch our official little films and about nothing else. So I hope they're worth it to you. So, well, until next week, Harley, I will report back, by the way, from Horror Hound. No, we haven't really talked about it much, but I will report back from Horror Hound. And we'll get to some new flicks. And until then, stay spooky. And we'll talk to you then.
And keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.